everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are going to be painting the Ork Kommandos from the Kill Team Octarius box set. These are very cool models. They're very detailed, and for this video I'm going to be showing you how to paint the knob as well as the little tactical grot and the bomb squig as well, just because these three are nice and different and also able to cover the entire set using these three models. So without further ado, we're going to jump in and start painting. Now they've been primed in grey Seer. The place we're going to focus on first is these two, well, all three of them at the same time to be fair, but we will show you the individual details as they come up. So the first colour we're going to be using is Orruk Flesh, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this all over all of the skin. Now we're going to be focusing here on the knob, and what we want to do is we just want to get a nice even coat of this Orruk Flesh all over. Now I know what a bunch of you are thinking out there. You're thinking, that's not contrast paint. Well, that is because we've got a really cool, very simple scheme that we're going to be doing for all of the skin today. Starting with Orruk Flesh, because it is a really lovely colour and it's perfect for orc skin as a base, and it just looks lovely. So we're going to be getting it all over all of the flesh. I'm going to do this the same thing on the tactical grot as well. I actually don't know what that grot's proper name is, so I keep calling it the tactical grot. Bond grot, maybe? So you just want to get this all over. Just like this. Whereas on the grot, we've only got a couple of little green details. So we've got his nose poking out just there. As well as his fingers. So with that Orruk Flesh applied to all of his skin, what we're now going to do is going to create a roughly 2 parts contrast medium to 1 part Ork Flesh mix. I'm going to use this all over the top of all of his skin, like this. And you just want to get this all over. Really working it into all of the recesses. Just like this. So that contrast medium and Ork Flesh mix applied, what we're now going to do is going to return once more to Orruk Flesh, and we're going to use this to basically re-layer all of our skin. Now what we want to do is we just want to start picking out all of the kind of flat open areas of the muscles and any edges. In all the skin. Just avoiding where our mix is settled in the recesses. Like this. With that done, don't worry about doing any highlights on that skin. What we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to do all the highlights towards the end. But for now, you've got some, well, it's already looking cracking. So what we're going to do is the next colour we're going to use is Space Wolves Grey. Now we're going to be using this on his trousers. All over. Just like this. In addition, we're going to use Space Wolves Grey to paint in our Grot's bodysuit, which I'll show you in just a second. Just want to finish the trousers. Just like that. Similarly on the Grot. I'm going to paint this all over. Just like this. So that's Space Wolves Grey applied. What we're then going to do is going to take some Dark Angel's Green and we're going to use this to paint in his jacket. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some Basilicanum Grey. And we're going to use this to colour in all of our, well, what is going to be black leather. So this is going to include areas such as the belts, the boots, and the backpacks. Stuff like this. Now, it doesn't have to all be this colour. That is entirely up to you. And you can do as much or as little of this as you like. It doesn't need to be like uniform across the entire Ork Kommandos kill team, because orcs by their very nature are just like that. So just take your time, make sure you thoroughly scout out the model for all the areas you want to be, all of the sections of the model that are going to have this black leather, and you want to do the same thing on the Grot and on the bomb squig. So that Basilicanum Grey all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood. I'm going to use this to paint in the remaining leather details. Now, there aren't many on this one. So we've got these kind of large belts here. And the little straps down here. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to add a roughly 3 parts contrast medium to 1 part black Templar mix. And we're going to be doing this over the top of the green, and we're going to be doing this over the top of the Space Wolves grey. And this is going to be the same again on the little tactical grot as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that black Templar mix. I'm going to start putting this all over these details, starting up here on the green. So with that done, you should now have a knob and a grot that looks somewhat like this. We've got that really lovely kind of almost incubi darkness-esque tone for the bodysuit and for the trousers. And we've got that really nice drab dark green for the waistcoat. So what we're going to do now is going to pop him to one side. And we're going to grab some black Templar just on its own. I'm going to use this over the top of all the areas that we've done with the Basilicanum Grey. So once again, just going to start down here on the boot and start painting this over the top. So with that done, what we're now going to do is going to move on, and we're going to be using some Skeleton Horde next. Now we're going to be using this for the bed rolls on these two guys, so up here and this one down here. But what we're also going to do is we're going to use this on our squig. Now the squig has a kind of sort of bony body, belly I should say, and then red skin. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Skeleton Horde. That way we don't have to wet blend the whole miniature. And we're just going to get this all over. So we just want to start painting the Skeleton Horde all over him, including his toenails and his teeth. And this just makes the process of painting him that little bit easier and quicker. So with that done, and the Black Templar now actually applied to all of those leather details, like I forgot to do, what we're going to do now is we're going to do the red. Now, what we want to do is we want to leave the belly of it with this kind of bony colour. And, well, on this side, it's a lot easier to demonstrate because we've got that kind of lip just there, which is where we want it to kind of finish. Now, what we've got is we've got a 1-to-1 mix of Blood Angel's Red, but this is mostly just to improve the flow of the paint so that it lasts longer, so that when we can kind of soften out the transition, it's easier to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start painting this Blood Angel's Red all over the Squig's flesh. Like this. Make sure we do that whole section. Get right in there. Like that. Nice and smooth. Then what we do is we wash the brush. And then just where the Skeleton Horde and the Blood Angel's Red meet, what we want to do is we just want to effectively like kind of stipple along with our brush. Just smoothing it out. Like so. And then we just want to do this all over our bomb squig. I'm just loading up with the Blood Angel's Red first. Just like this. So with that flesh colour now established on our bomb squig, don't worry about kind of continuing it on, because what we're going to do is we're going to put it to one side now, because we're going to be finishing off base coats effectively. So put the bomb squig to one side. What we're going to do is we're going to grab up our boss knob once again. Now, the colour we're going to be using is Iron Warriors, and we're going to be basically painting this over every single detail that remains. So all over the claw, not that cable, but the claw, this box, the bullets, the grenade, this, that, the gun, everywhere. And then we're going to use different contrast paints to get different metallics out of it. So the colour we're going to be using is Iron Warriors. We're just going to start painting this over all of our remaining details that are going to be of a metallic nature. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit boring once you've got the Iron Warriors on. We are going to sort that out afterwards. But for now you just want to get this over every single one of those details. Like this. So with that Iron Warriors all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some Runelord Brass. I'm going to use this to basically break up all of that silver. So we just want to pick out some little areas that we want to be a different colour. So for example, well, these bullets here in the magazine, like that, and like that. And then on the back here, also just going to colour in the tips of these rounds on his back, and I'm going to colour in the grenade casing up there. Like so. And on the power claw, I'm going to do this panel here. Just to really reinforce that kind of ramshackle nature. Of his gear. Like so. So with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. I'm going to use this to break up those metallics even further. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Flesh Tearers Red over the top of our kind of any glyph plates. So we've got his belt buckle down here, like that. And we've got the casing on the gun where we've got the glyph. So there's a glyph there and on the other side as well. So I'm going to add this Flesh Tearers Red over the top. Like that. And then we're also going to add it over the top of the little comms dish. As well. And so with that done, we added a few more Flesh Tearers Red areas. So for example, this pack here and this little section on the claw. What we're going to do now is we're going to use some Iron Hand Steel. I'm going to use this to just break up some of that silver. So for example, on the cutting edge here of the power claw, like that, and on the barrel of the pistol. Like so. Again, just to break up that colour a little bit. And so with that done, our final base coat is to use some Blood Angels Red. I'm going to use this on all of the cables. As well as on dynamite on the bomb squig. So with that done, you should have some models that look somewhat like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply some shading to all of those metallics. Now, the only shade we're going to be using is Basilicanum Grey. And what we're going to do is just going to take some of that on our brush. I'm just going to start painting this over the top of all the silver, all that Runelord Brass. All of it. Just like this. So with that done, our minis are now at pretty much what I would call a Warhipster battle ready standard. And they look pretty awesome, but what we're going to do is we're going to take them to the next level. So the place we're going to start is on the squig. And the color we're going to be using first is Fire Dragon Bright. Now we're going to be using this to highlight all of the squig's flesh. So I've got some here thinned down on my palette. What we're just going to do is we're just going to start picking out all of the edges with the Fire Dragon Bright, like this. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit stark. We are going to do something in just a minute to pull the whole thing together. And for now, just want to go around like this. With that done, you should have a bomb squig that looks somewhat like this. So what we're going to do is going to create a roughly 6 parts contrast medium to 1 part Flesh Terror's red mix. We're going to use this as a little glaze over the top of our red, just to tie that Flesh Terror's red, well, to tie that Blood Angel's red and the Fire Dragon Bright in together. Just add a little bit more depth to it. Just like this. So with that done, it's still drying at the moment, but don't worry about that, because what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Volupus Pink. I'm going to use this to paint in the tongue of our bomb squig. Just like that. And what we're also going to do is going to use this Volupus Pink on the scars on our Ork boy. You don't need very much here, just a small amount. And don't worry if it's a little bit overlappy, we are going to be doing some highlights on this in a little bit. What we're also going to do is going to use a very small amount of this Volupus Pink along the bottom lip, and along this scar here as well. So with that done, we're now going to put the bomb squig to one side, because the majority of the highlights that we're going to be doing now can be used across all 3, but we're going to focus on this guy just for the moment. Now, the colour we're going to be using first is Ogryn Camo. We're going to be using this to highlight all of his skin. So what we want to do is we just want to start picking out all of the sharp edges. Around all of his flesh. As well as like the curvature of the muscles. And with that done, we're then going to take a teeny tiny amount of Cadian Fleshtone. I'm going to use this to highlight his bottom lip. Just by adding these little dots going across, as well as add a little bit of a highlight over the top of the scars. So with that done, our Ork Flesh is all finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to highlight his kind of drab green vest coat. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Straken Green. Just like this. And so with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our black details. So with that done, I also highlighted the grey of the trousers, including the bodysuit of the grot with the Dawnstone. I forgot to mention that in the last take. So what we're going to do now is going to move on. I'm going to use some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to use this to highlight our red details. And with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to use some Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight any teeth, fangs, claws, as well as any of the bits that we painted in with the skeleton horde, such as the bedrolls and the wraps. And that one. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is going to highlight all of our metallics with some Iron Hand Steel, including the Runelord Brass, because this just makes it look even more worn out. So we do the silver with the Iron Hand Steel, make it look nice and industrial, and we do the Runelord Brass with the Iron Hand Steel as well, make it look just that kind of little bit more grimy. Just like this. So with that Iron Hand Steel applied to all of our metallics, as you can see we've done it on this guy as well. What we're now going to do is going to take a tiny amount of Yriel Yellow. I'm going to use this to paint in the squig's eyes. And with that done, we then take a teeny amount of black Templar and use this as the pupils for the eyes. We're just adding a little dot. Right in the middle. Like so. So with that done, our bomb squig is now finished. So we can put the bomb squig to one side. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take a teeny tiny amount of Blood Angel's Red. I'm going to use this to paint in our orc's eyes. So with those eyes done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some Rakarth Flesh. I'm going to use this to paint in any of the runes. So we've got some here on the gun. like so. Got one here. As well. And some of them in the box have got them on like their jacket shoulder pads. So just watch out for that. And with that done, what we're then going to do, we're going to take some Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight those runes. Just like that. And with that done, just to finish him off, what we're going to do is going to take some Dark Angel's Green. I'm going to paint this over the computer screen. Just like that.
And there we have it. The Ork Kommandos all finished in their sneaky glory. They're really cool models. The options you get in the kit are absolutely fantastic, and these have got so much personality. It's awesome. All the new Ork stuff. And of course, this video was also brought to you and made possible by Javi de la Cruz and his daughters Candela, Olivia and Adriana. So once again, thank you so much, guys, for letting me paint your Ork Kommandos. Really enjoyed it, and I hope you're as happy with them as I am, and I hope you enjoy playing with them very soon. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you can now become a YouTube channel member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these absolute bosses have done. And if you just want to shoot me a little thanks, just because you really love this video, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.